the Spirit. Just begin to lift your voice and pray in the Spirit. Everybody in this room. We love you, Jesus. We love you, Jesus. Yeah. We love you, Jesus. Just lift your voices and pray. Come on, let's worship Him right now. We don't even need a man to lead us in this song. Let's just lift up our own song of worship. We love you, God. We love you, God. We honor you. We lift you up, Jesus. Have your way in this place, oh God. Have your way in this place, Jesus. Jesus, Jesus. Come on, say His name. Say His name. Lift up His name. Lift up His name. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Jesus. Come on, lift up your voices. Let this be your worship. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. You're the King of Kings. You're the Lord of Lords. You're the King of Kings. You're the Lord of Lords. Hallelujah, Jesus. 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 We love you, Jesus. We love you, Jesus. Come on, that's it. That's it. Let the love song come out of your spirit. That's it. This morning is all about worship. This morning is all about worship. Come on, so let's give it to Him. Let's give it to Him. Let's love on Him. We cast our love on you. We cast our love on you, Jesus. Jesus. David said this. There was a moment when David was being persecuted by Saul. When I was in Israel 2 weeks ago, I saw the caves that David would have been hiding in. The caves, I thought that they would look like a valley, but in fact, it was like a desert. And the cliffs were these massive cliffs with all these caves everywhere in these cliffs. I'm talking hundreds and thousands of caves. And I thought of Saul wanting to find David and kill him. And I remember David writing his songs. He says this. He was being persecuted for nothing, and he's hiding in a cave for his life. And he says, "Oh soul, why so downcast?" He's speaking to his own soul. And he says, "Oh soul, lift up your head, lift up your eyes to the Lord, and bless Him, for He is good." David is being persecuted by Saul. David is being hunted like an animal. But yet David is saying, "Saul, you have no reason to be depressed. Saul, you have no reason to be downtrodden, because the Lord is good. Even though Saul is persecuting you, even though I'm going through this season, I'm going to lift up my worship. I'm going to lift up my eyes to Jesus." So right now, put your hand on your stomach right here, and put your other hand on your heart, and say this. Say, "Oh soul, lift up your eyes to Jesus." Oh, you're going to have to shout that out. "Oh soul, lift up your eyes and bless." Say that again. And bless the Lord, for He is good. Amen. So we're going to lift up a shout. We're going to get right in this. On the count of 3, we're going to lift up a shout of blessing. peace. It is by your name that we received our hope. It is by your name that we received our salvation. Your name is the name upon our hearts. Your name is the name written upon our soul. Your name is the name that we hang around our neck in a plaque when we say we belong to Jesus. We belong to the King of Kings. We belong to the Lord of Lords. It says about Jesus, when he stands in the room, that all creation trembles. It says when he stands in the room, all of creation bows. When he stands in the room, every tribe and every tongue confesses the name of Jesus. That he is Lord, that he is King, that he is high lifted up. It says in Colossians 1, that because heaven stood in the name of Jesus, every tribe, every tongue shall confess that he is Lord, and that name is the name written on our hearts. When people say, who do you belong to? When people say, why do you live the way you live? When people say, why do you pray? Why do you worship? Why do you go to church? Why do you forgive? Why do you trust again? Why do you let people that treat you poorly, why do you let them keep doing it? Why don't you tell them to stop? And you can say, look at the name written upon my heart. Look at the name written upon my mind. Look at the name written upon my soul. I don't have anything else. I don't want anything else. I have no need for anything else, because the name of Jesus has given me freedom, has given me salvation. Lift your hands all over this room tonight, this morning. You stood in line. Say this: I receive your forgiveness. I receive your freedom. I receive your presence. I receive your name. Let my life be an ark of your name. Let my name be grafted into your name. Let my heart be one with you. Let's sing this chorus. Sing it. Come on, sing this over every child. Come on. Sing this over every storm going on. Come on. Come on, let's just stand up to our feet and close with this. Come on, sing it out. The name of Jesus. Come on. Jesus is standing in this room right now. Come up to the front. Let's all sit together up here. The chairs are for people that are older than, I don't know, 40. So if you're under 40, you can sit on the ground. You can sit on the ground. We have an awesome guest who's going to be sharing with us in a moment. I want to thank you all for coming this morning. You guys are you're the champions. Yeah, you're the champions. To come out on a Saturday morning and come and worship like this, it's just, I can't imagine something that brings the Father more joy than this. You know? I mean, think about it. When His children come Saturday morning and they're like, hey, Jesus, all we want is you. All we want is you. All we love is you. And we're just gathered together from different churches, from different places. I can't imagine the smile that you gave God this morning. So let's just give Jesus another shout of praise. We love Jesus. That's why we're here. We're here for you, Holy Spirit. Move in our hearts. In Jesus' name. So I'm going to share this with you. We're going to be done today at about 12. So we're going to be done just before 12, just around 12. We're going to go out to have lunch today, all of us, if you can. We're going to go to the Gardens Mall. We're just going to hang out in the food court, get to know one another. Something important about this event for us that I didn't get to share with last night is that in the future, how cool would it be, instead of this being like a conference, how cool would it be if this being more like a family reunion? Where you get to come and say, oh, that friend that goes to that church that I don't get to see all the time, I get to see him at the collective. We want this to be something much more than a conference, because that's not what it is. I mean, we're just friends up here jamming, and we're just friends down here. And so what we want to do is, if you don't know somebody in this room, make it your point to at least get to know like 5 people before you leave today. Get to know them, get to know what their name is, follow them on Instagram, follow them on Facebook, become friends with them. That's what this whole thing is about, becoming family. So it's our heart to see that happen. So we're going to go out to the Gardens Mall right after this. We're going to go have lunch there, and then we're going to be back here for a 2:30 session with great friends of mine named Mark and Colleen. And they're going to be running us through an incredible time. Have you ever heard of Bethel? Yeah, they teach Bethel ministry, and that's what they do. They're awesome people. They're awesome friends of mine. I'm just getting to know them this year, but it's like we met and we just talked for like 3 hours. We were just like, oh, we're best friends already. So, and maybe it was the Greek food. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. But yeah, so let's pray, and then we're going to welcome up Mark this morning. Father, we love you. We bless you. We give you our full attention right now. We give you our full focus, and we want to know what you have to share with us. Let our hearts be postured to receive from you. Let our hearts be postured to receive from what you've given Mark to share over the years and years of ministry that he's been in. We receive what he has to give us this morning. So in the name of Jesus, we thank you, God. We honor you first. And everyone said amen. Let's give it up for Mark this morning. Come on, let's welcome him.
Oh man, it's such an honor to be here with you guys this morning. Who was here last night? How awesome. Let me put this down here. I don't even know if I'm going to get through half of my notes. You can show on the keyboard, man. I love that. I just love this atmosphere right now. I mean, Jesus, let's just get into this. Lord, we just avail ourselves to you. We say you're welcome. We say do what you want to do. Touch everyone that you want to touch. Say everything that you want to say, God. Lord, we say that we're hungry for an encounter. We're hungry to see your face, to know you. Lord, you say that we will be known, or we will know as we are known. One day, we will know you in the same way that you know us. But until that day, we see in part. But as we look at your face, as we get glimpses of who you are, we are changed to become like you. You guys, I just want to invite you to engage your hearts. To really just posture your heart in a place that says, Lord, I want to see you. I want to know you. I want to hear you. And I don't have much time to share with you what's on my heart. And I'll give you a little background of my life. 20 years ago, or more than 20 years ago, the most amazing thing happened to me, the most important day of my life, and that's when I met Jesus. I was 16 years old, and I was on drugs. I was smoking a ton of pot, doing LSD, doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and I've been doing it, since I was 12 years old with my friends. And I had no grit for God. I had no idea of spirituality or what life was all about. I was just kind of, meandering my way through everything. And there were a series of events that I won't get into right now. But I was in a place, in the most vulnerable place of my life, where I was scared for my life. I thought I was going to die. And the Lord chose that moment to bring somebody into my life and present to me the gospel, the good news of Jesus. And when I said yes to Him, it was like 1,000,000 pounds of weight of pressure was lifted off of my soul. And for the first time of my life, I could breathe. And I'm like, oh my God, this is what life is all about. It's Jesus. So since that day in 1997, April 13th, I've been on a journey walking with Him. And I've had the most amazing opportunities. And even here now, I'm humbled and I'm honored to be able to share with you what God's been doing in my life. When I was 18 years old, I met a man in church who saw the hunger on my life, and he took me to Brazil. And I had no idea what I was signing up for. And at that moment, at that time, there was a revival going on in Brazil, in the south of Brazil, in Minas Gerais. And there's what you call an open heaven that was going on. And that meant it was a time in history. And you'll hear about revival, and you'll read about when God shows up for extended periods of time, and people are just they step into this reality. And it was a time where every church, every time we gathered, wherever we went, the manifest presence of God would show up. People would get healed, they get saved, they get delivered. I mean, we'd have meetings, and people would come in off of the street into the church, and they would get on their knees, and they'd take their hat off, and they'd bow. They didn't even know what they were doing. They said, I want to give my life to God. I want to know Jesus. And that did something to me. That branded me. That showed me something so rich that since that moment, or since that season of life, anything less than that, I get frustrated with. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? When you experience something in God so real and so rich, that you can't put it into words, but it does something, it marks you so deep, that everything else kind of falls short, and you almost become that guy where it's you're critical, you're angry, you're upset, you're that's not quite it. And I had to learn, instead of putting out the fire, the zeal that was in me, to kind of be thankful for that time, and to change my heart and cry out, and to stir people up, this is real, to live it. And so anyway, I felt to share with you guys this morning, about identity, about worship, the tabernacle of David, but there's so much there. I love what you were saying last night of honor. Of God's more interested in your heart than He is your ministry, your purpose. He's more interested in your character. He's more interested in getting to know you getting to know Him. And I think it's really important, to go back to those fundamental principles of God, God's heart towards His people. Because we live in such a strange, weird time of identity, where everybody is competing to be unique. I love creativity, I love uniqueness, don't like to fall in line and everybody be the same. And, I love expression. But there seems to be, in today's day of social media, this competition from the world. It's almost like in businesses. Like, what sets you apart in a business? What's your thing? And that kind of crept into the church somewhere. Maybe it's always been there. What's your identity of a church? What's your thing? What's your flow? What's your deal? And every church seems to have like, this is our culture. This is we capitalize on worship. We really prioritize worship. We really prioritize, missions and everybody. And I want to be like, well, why don't you just subscribe to Jesus? But I don't mean that in a cliche way. I mean that in a sense of where Paul describes the full counsel of God, the whole picture. And there's no need to discredit or to sacrifice the whole to promote one aspect. Like God is the God of the universe. He's omniscient. He's all-powerful. He's our Father. Jesus says, I no longer call you slaves or servants, but I call you friends. But He's our Lord. He's our older brother. He's the one who came before us so that we can all follow as sons and daughters. And there's so many attributes of God. Like, I'll put it another way. There are so many hats that God wears. Just like as we move on in life, we're kids, we're sons and daughters to our parents. And then we become a boyfriend or a girlfriend to our special someone. And then we become a husband or a wife. And then a father or a mother to our kids or business owner. And we wear all these hats, but it doesn't isolate who we are as an individual. We're all these things. And I say that because, I need to look at my notes. There's so much here, guys. I want to read to you a verse in Proverbs 30. Proverbs 30:18. It says, "Consider the conies, for they are a feeble people, yet they make their home in the rock." Now, another translation says, "Consider a rock badger," or a coney is a rabbit. So, you've got this picture. So, Proverbs 30, if you look at it, it has a kind of a picture of these principles. And so here's this weak little animal that makes their home in wisdom in the rocks. And when an enemy comes, like an eagle, they don't fight against the enemy. They go and they hide in the rock. Because right now, there's been a message that I absolutely love of sonship and identity. And we all need to know who we are in Christ. We need to know that we're a son, that we're accepted, that we have an inheritance. But I want you to look at this picture of here's this little weak animal who knows who he is, but also knows his capacity and where his safety and strength lies. And it's not in himself. It's in where he lives. So when the eagle or the fox comes to attack him, they dive into the rock. Jesus is our rock. The Bible says that the name of the Lord is a strong tower, and the righteous run in, and they are safe. I want you to hear that. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. And we, the righteous, run in, and we are safe. So instead of saying, like, here, I'm a son, which we are, I'm a daughter, I need my inheritance, I need to be told, yeah. But there's a place place of knowing where your strength comes. Like, God, I am nothing, and you are everything. He is the vine. We are the branches. And apart from Him, we can do nothing. And our strength doesn't necessarily lie in our identity, because everybody wants to express their identity. Our strength lies in where we make our home. Our strength, our safety, our power lies in where we make our home. I want to make my home in Jesus. You know, sometimes I don't make my home in His presence, because everything in the world will distract you and keep you from that. Hebrews talks about a rest that is available for the people of God. There is a rest that is available for the people of God. And those that didn't enter into it didn't enter in because of faith. They didn't have faith. They had unbelief. They didn't believe it was for them. And because of that, there was sin, there was meandering, there was all kinds of stuff that happened. But they didn't get to enter into that rest. But there is a rest that is prepared and available to the people of God. And we must strive to enter into them. Like, it is our aim, it is our goal. It should be our main focus to enter and to stay in the presence of God and to make His presence our home every day. Am I making your presence my home, Jesus? And so, you know, this is a worship collective or meetings that to, you know, bring other worship leaders together and express what we've been given. And I want to talk about that, but it's really difficult because God, there's a pattern that I love talking about. The tabernacle of David, the tabernacle of Moses, and the temple of Solomon. That is one of my all-time favorites. Because in the beginning, God decided, I'm going to make man. I'm going to communicate with man, my creation. And then I'm going to set a pattern up. And I'm going to give him an ordinance of how he's going to communicate with him and how I'm going to communicate with him. And so he decides on a mountain to meet with a man named Moses. We all know the story, but what he's given are plans that later we see is a tabernacle. It's a moving tent with an outer court, an inner court, and a most holy place, an inner room where God meets with man. If you fast forward the story, you look at Revelation, the very first thing that the book of Revelation talks about is this is the testimony of the revelation of Jesus Christ, and it begins in a tabernacle. And if you look at the furniture and the layout of what God originally gave to Moses, you see it manifested in reality in the experience of John, the revelation of John, on the Isle of Patmos. So he sees the living tabernacle. It's not, I mean, it's a story to look at, or just a pattern that you can continually study to reveal all that God is. And it's so important to know who God is, because as we look at Him, we find out who we are. For what we've been designed to do and who we've been designed to be. James talks about this reality where we look in the mirror and then we go away and we forget who we are. Right? That happens all the time. We look in the mirror, but the mirror that he's talking about is the Word of God. And not just the Word of God in the sense of, you know, the Bible, but the Word of God in the sense of who God is in character and who He calls us to be. When He makes declarations of who we are, it's a picture for us to believe and say, yeah, that's who I am. That's who You called me to be. So this tabernacle that Moses builds with the Lord is a is a time in history where the children of Israel their sins are being atoned for by a priest, by one man. And he's coming to an altar, and they're sacrificing bulls and oxen, and they're making a mess at the altar, and then they're going into an inner court, and they're lighting incense, and they're at a table, there's showbread, and there's oil, and there's all kinds of stuff going on, and I won't get into every piece of furniture and everything that they had to do, but it all was unto an encounter. It was all going into a secret room called the inner court, the most holy place. And there was an ark of a covenant that had 2 cherubim, and the priest didn't do anything. He sat there. And then the Bible calls it the Shekinah glory of God. The manifest presence of Almighty God would show up in that place. And y'all, it was so intense that if the priest didn't follow the rules, he would die. And they would have a rope tied to his leg, because if they didn't hear the bells, if they didn't hear him moving around, he was dead. They had to pull him out. So we're not talking about a feeling or a goosebump or just like this thing. We're talking about, raw, unadulterated power of God, manifest presence of the Lord before a priest. Who knows this? I mean, could you imagine? So we go forward and we go into a tabernacle of David. And Amos 9:11 says, God promises that He's going to rebuild the tabernacle of David. Who all knows about that? We hear about that, right? You've heard about the tabernacle of David being restored. This is the number one verse that's fueling a worship movement. Oh my God, God is restoring the tabernacle of David. And so it hinges around music and worship, because that was the heart of David, right? But here's the deal, like what you were saying last night, is that David wanted to restore the presence of the Lord back to Israel. And he knew, he's like, okay, it's at Obed-Edom's house, I gotta go ahead and I gotta get it. It doesn't matter what it takes, I'm gonna restore the presence of the Lord. And so then we fast forward to his son Solomon, who built a temple. Now this is crazy. You've got Solomon, the son of David, who builds a massive temple that's modeled after not his father David, it's modeled after Moses in the exact way it's laid out. Now think about this. Why would the son of David not go and build the ark of the tabernacle after his father, when his father was known as a man after God's own heart? I mean, there's been no other man, patriarch, in history that holds the title, a man after God's own heart. Everybody's got, John was his beloved, and, the one who Jesus loved. A man after God's own heart. What does that look like? What is the heart of God? And so, just to give you a picture, David decided, I'm going to bring the Ark of the Covenant back into Israel. He did it in not a sloppy way, but he messed up, and somebody died in the process. And they finally could get it. I don't know, you don't know who touched it. Anyway, he decided that he's going to have a bunch of worshipers surrounding this ark. He's not going to build a tent that has rooms, enclosures, and it's hidden. He's going to put it right in the middle of Israel. He's going to build a tent, he's going to surround it with a bunch of singers, and dancers, and musicians. And we're just going to worship God, and then what happens? What happened at that ark? What happened there? That was the meeting place for the high priest to come before God and experience the manifest presence of the Lord. Right? And so he decides, I'm not going to have a room, I'm going to have worshipers. And it was the first time in history where all of Israel, even the singers and the musicians and people who had never experienced and seen the manifest presence of the Lord, even Gentiles outside could look through, past the shoulders of the worshipers and see the Shekinah glory, the manifest presence of the Lord. I want you all to think about it. There's a moment in history that never had been up until that point and never was afterwards, where everybody, even those outside of Israel, could see with their own eyes the manifest presence of God. And I think that that's so awesome, because it's like that's what God wants to raise up. That's what it means when He is going to rebuild the tabernacle of David. That He's not just going to bring back a worship movement and breathe on a worship movement. He's not just going to, He's going to do that, and He is doing that, and He is going to breathe back in the heart and necessity for His presence and for worship and encounter. But He is going to reveal His glory, place His glory, so that on display so that all can see, so that those outside in the world can look in and see something tangible with their eyes, and perceive something that says, oh my God, what is that? Or they can see it. Jesus, we want to see it. We want to see your glory. The Bible says that we're a priesthood. He made us kings and priests forever. David was a priest. He was also a king. And that's part of our identity, that we're sons, we're daughters, believers, preachers. We're a priesthood. And so like whatever you honor, whatever you honor will increase in your life. Like if you honor a gift, if you honor a subject, if you honor God's presence, He will increase in your life. If you honor music as a musician, and you go out for it, it becomes part of your identity. It increases in your life. It cultivates that, and ultimately you identify with it, and it becomes part of your identity. And I want us to all start to think and to remember that we're not just sons and daughters. We are, but we're also priests. I want you to think about that. We are not just sons and daughters. We're not just kids. We're not just friends. We're also priests. And why is that important? Because what is a priest? What is the job or the responsibility of a priest? I mean, it's one of many. It's making atonement for the sins of the people with God. It ultimately, you can boil it down to connecting God with man and man to God. I want to introduce you to my Jesus. I want you to know my Jesus. I want to minister to God before His people. And you start to think that way, and you take on that identity, your life will change, and you'll begin to look at things differently and handle people differently in circumstances. Because you're a priest. You're a priest whether you like it or not. And God will always have a priesthood. And He always has. He's always had a priesthood. From the very beginning. From the very beginning, He's had a priesthood. Now, it hasn't been a great priesthood sometimes. You could be an unfaithful priest. You could offer strange fire. In fact, that was the thing that the Lord had the most audit against. He was more upset with his priesthood than he was the sin of the people. Always, always, always. He never came down with the sins of his people. Saying, you did this, you messed up. He'd always look to the leaders, to the priesthood. He said, you are not valuing the holy things as holy. You are calling the holy things of God unholy. And you're reversing it, and you're calling the unclean, common, basic, unholy thing, you're calling that clean and holy. And you're flip-flopping, you're confusing the people, and you're causing them to sin because of it. And so God was always the most angry with that situation. So he's had an unfaithful priesthood, but he's also had a faithful. But nonetheless, he will always have a priesthood. And that's what he calls us. That's what we are. We're priests before God and unto each other. And in that responsibility, as we grow in that responsibility, you start to see something in God and a place that he's bestowed upon you that is much more involved than you would think. He cares about you a lot more. I love this story I want to share with you of Joshua. So, after Moses comes Joshua, right? I don't hear a lot of people talking about Joshua. But Joshua takes the baton from Moses. So here you have Moses leading the children of Israel. His time is over. He passes the baton over to Joshua. Joshua takes the baton, figuratively speaking, and he's doing a good job. He's dialoguing with the Lord. He's obeying God. He's doing everything that's required of him, right? But something happens really interesting. And I want to take you to a story in Joshua 5. So if you have your Bible or your iPhone, or you can just listen. So Joshua 5. Verse 13, and it came to pass that when Joshua was by Jericho, that he lifted up his eyes, and he looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him with his sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went to him, and he said, are you for us, or are you for our adversaries? And he said, no, but as captain of the host of the Lord I am now come. And Joshua fell on his face and worshipped, and said to him, what do you say to your servant? And that's an awesome story. I mean, here's this guy in armor, with a sword drawn, and Joshua freaks out. He's like, are you for us or against us? Who are you? He said, I am the captain of the army of the Lord of hosts. You gotta ask yourself, why did God do that? Why did he do that? Why did he decide to encounter Joshua? Joshua is doing everything that's required of him. He's got an upstanding relationship with him. He's dialoguing with the Lord just like Moses. He's doing a good job as a leader. He's doing a great job. Even in his weakness. You have to ask yourself, like, why did God do that? Why did he decide to show up in a way that was totally unrecognizable? And I believe personally it's because there is never a time when we should get familiar with who God is. Ever. Never, ever should we get familiar. You know, I mean, the disciples right away when they came to Jesus, Jesus, even the demons are subject to us in your name. Jesus says, wait, it's great that's the truth. But don't be thankful that the demons are subject to you. Be thankful, rather, that your names are written in heaven. And so here Joshua is, and he's rolling up, and then God shows up in the form of a soldier. That I'm the captain. I'm the captain. And you need to take your feet, take your shoes off, and it's holy ground. And he bows down and he worships. And all of a sudden it's like a heart shift. It's like, oh my God. Oh my God, this is God. I didn't know it was God. I don't know that. I really don't know this God that I'm serving here and I'm leading all these people. Like, it's another angle, facet of who he is. And what you said last night was so beautiful on humility. It reminded me of the story when the disciples asked Jesus, "Hey, Jesus, will you increase our faith?" And he goes, "Okay, you want your faith to be increased? All right. So let me tell you a story. There's a master, and his servant is out in the field working, and he comes back. He comes back from a hard day's work, and does the master sit down? I mean, does the servant sit down with the master? No, he doesn't do that. Does he ask for a pat on the back? No, he doesn't do that. Rather, he gives the master his food. He prepares his food for the master. He waits. He says, I'm only doing what is required. Like he knew his place. And he didn't need a pat on the back from his master who said, oh, you did a great job. You served in the field, you did this, and come and eat. No. He served the master his food. He waited. And he had the attitude of, hey, I'm only doing what is required of me. And in a day where there's so much entitlement, and there's so much, look at me of what I'm doing. Somebody recognize that I'm doing good. Somebody pat me on the back that I'm doing the basic things that a Christian is supposed to do. And I don't even mean that in a harsh way. I don't mean like, hey, fall in the line. I mean it like, there's an attitude of humility that says, look, I'm not looking for recognition. I'm doing the basic things that's required of me. I just want to love Jesus. I want to serve Jesus. And that's the parable, that's the answer that Jesus gave his disciples when asked, Lord, increase our faith. And so that this tells me that everything, this whole thing that we're doing is all about a heart posture and an encounter with him. Everything that he's doing is unto something. And that something is him. He is everything. If we're not encountering him, if we're not meeting with him, the reason that God has a priesthood is so that man can meet with him and know him. The reason that he built the tabernacle is so, not for a bunch of rules and regulations, but to reveal who God is and a greater picture of what he ultimately wants to do in humanity with his son Jesus, with his entire body, his entire family. It's a picture. The reason he wants to raise the tabernacle of David again is because he wants people to see him and encounter him, to see his face, to hear his voice. And we've got the opportunity to be vessels of honor, to be vessels that carry his glory. Because then the Bible goes on to say, look, we are now living tabernacles. Made of flesh and blood. And we're now individual little tabernacles. That means we have an outer court. Wow. We have an inner court. We've got an inner court. And we've got a holy of holies. We've got a seat. We've got a place where the glory of God can rest. And it is specifically designed for him. So when we make our home in Him, and He makes His home in us, right? That's what we talked about last night. John 14, you know? He's going to come in. He's going to sup with us. He's going to make His home in us. Now let's just put our hands out and say this. Lord, we want you to make your home in us. We want to be wise. We want to understand our role of who we are, who you are, the greatness of who you are. It is your strength that is made perfect in our weakness. It's your name, yours alone, is a strong tower. We can run in and be safe. Some of you guys have been fighting a battle that's not yours to fight. That's part of what Joshua had an encounter with the soldier, generation to generation. Well, let's just stand up here. Let's just worship. We want to see your face, God. Just lift your hand. We honor you, God. God is fighting a battle on your behalf. And some of you need to stop fighting and recognize that your strength is not in what you know. Your strength is not in just who He's called you, what you can do and say and declare, but your strength is found in His presence. Your strength is found in Him. I believe He's calling all of us to run into His presence, to stop fighting and understand that He will fight this battle. He will fight your battle. He will shut the mouth of the enemy. You've done everything to stand. Stand again. Stand. Stand. Resist the enemy and he'll flee. Stand in that place. You stand in that place of His presence, of His promise, of His word. for your presence. To pursue you, Lord, with all of our heart, with all of our mind, with all of our strength, to seek you, to cry out to you, God. I ask you, Father, that you would do this. You would give us the gift of hunger, to hunger and to thirst after you. Spirit of God, I pray that you would rest on each and every one of us. That you would begin a stronger work to remove all of the rocks from the well of our heart. Living water would begin to flow stronger through our lives. Father, I thank you for this time. I thank you for every person in this place. I ask you to continue to draw us deeper. In the name of Jesus. Amen.
I'm remembering David, and I relate a lot to David because David made a lot of mistakes. You know, sometimes people are like, I want to be like Peter, keep playing. And I don't want to lose the moment, so keep it going. We're going to go right back into that before we leave. So people say things like, hey, I relate a lot to Peter or whatever, or, you know, and I'm like, well, which Peter are you talking about? The Peter that denied Jesus 3 times, or the Peter that said, be holy as he is holy, you know, in 1 Peter. And sometimes I look at David and I think, well, I relate to both. You know, David's out there making mistakes, and I don't know about you, but I've battled so many other things, you know, like David was caught up in this story of relationship with God like nobody else. And David doesn't follow the rules. That's what's crazy to me about what Mark was saying. When Mark was talking wherever he is, when Mark was talking about the ark and he put it in the middle of the tent, you have to understand, guys, that nobody ever did that. Nobody ever put the ark in the middle. And I look at David and I think of myself. And David's like, hey, I'm going to build God a tent, and I'm going to get the presence of God in the city. And I can't even do it the right way, so I'm just going to put the ark in the middle. And I mean, this guy, he died because he touched it, but we're going to put this ark in the middle, and I don't really know what else to do other than surround it with worship. I don't know what else to do but put the presence of God, put the ark in the middle, and we're going to surround it with worship. We're going to surround it with song. We're going to surround it with singing, and we're going to give God praise. We're going to give God glory, because all I can think of is David back in the field. When he was with God in the presence of God, he's like, all I did with God is I praise him. All I did with God is I worship him. All I did with God is I build my love on him. So we're going to sing this chorus again, Show Me Your Glory. And we're going to I want you to see this, okay? I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to see that now the ark of God is your heart. I want you to see that, okay? The ark represented where the presence of God would rest. The throne that he would sit on. And God forsook an ark made by hands through Jesus, because when Jesus did what he did, Jesus gave access again to the original throne that God wanted to sit on. The original throne that God always wanted to rest on, the heart of man. And so put your hand on your heart. This is now the ark of God. This is now where the glory of God rests, right here in your heart. And we're going to sing over our heart. And we're going to sing this chorus again. Show me your glory. We're going to sing I want to look on your face. And we're going to sing this one, ask the presence of God to rest on our hearts. Even greater than it did in Moses' day. Even greater than it did in Solomon's day. Because a greater covenant has been made. A greater promise has been made through Jesus. So let's lift up our voices. Let's lift up our hands. And let's sing over our hearts. Show me your glory. Let it rise. Let it rise. Lift it up. Lift it up. Show me your glory. schools around this area. There's a lot of kids in the communities around your area. There's a lot of kids in your neighborhoods. How crazy would it be if we sing this song again, that I long to look, and we sing it on behalf of all the kids in our high school, all the kids in our middle school, all the kids in our colleges, all the people around us. We sing it on behalf of our family. How crazy would it be? Because see, listen, God, when He chose Moses, Moses was an outcast. Moses had a couple excuses before God. He said to God, he's like, God, what am I going to say? God, who am I going to say to send me? And then this is the third excuse. He says, God, I don't talk well. You ever felt like you don't talk well? God's not looking for a perfect person. He's looking for a person that trusts Him enough to raise up a generation to seek Him and follow Him out into the desert. We're going to sing this one more time. And I want you to imagine your families. I want you to imagine your communities. I want you to imagine your friends. And I want you to see them in your heart. See them pursuing the Father. Because what we're going to do right now is going to become a prophetic act that as a group of young people, we are going to call upon the name of God to raise up a spirit of love and pursuit for Him in our friends, in our communities, in our schools, that this nation will be turned back to God, that this community will be turned back to God, because a generation of young people are going to be raised up in pursuit of God. So let's lift up our hands one more time. After this, you guys are free to go. Remember, we're going to have lunch at the Garden Mall. So be kind to the people at the Garden Mall. Make friends here. Go eat with them. Go eat lunch with somebody you don't know. We're going to be there, the whole band. We're going to be there. We're going to have lunch with you. So make sure you get out to the Garden Mall and have lunch with us. So let's lift up our hands and sing this one more time. Jesus, I pray that we understand this. That even atheists and agnostic kids that don't believe in you would hear our voices in their spirit. That in their spirit they would hear the call of God to love you, to pursue you, to seek your face. Father, we raise our voices, we lift our hearts to be a generation to seek your face. Daughters, every person in this room. you would raise them up to seek your face, raise us up to seek your face. That this song would be so much more than a song, but that it would be our very heart cry. In Jesus' name, we love you, Lord. In Jesus' name, everyone said, amen. See you guys back at 2:30. Good.